Hello everyone and welcome to the Gaming Dehne. Today's episode is going to be another deck profile for Weiss Schwarz, this time Kantai collection. Now, this Kantai collection deck is actually a yellow, red, blue deck. I'm going to be going ahead and try to do a little quick because names are long, so I'm going to probably just do like a simplified name, do a quick explanation, and then move on to the next card. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this deck. By the way, the deck tells all. Yes, the sleeves are Kongou sleeves. So it tells you what kind of deck this is. This is not a meta deck, just so we're aware. This is fun build, sort of. And sorry, I just hit the camera. I was trying to fix something with my deck right quick. Anyways, so we start off with yellow. At level 0, we have, I'm going to mispronounce a lot of these names, so please bear with me. Maikaze. Maikaze is level 00, 3500. That on placement, you look at the top card of your deck. If it is not a fleet girl, you put that card and put it into your clock. So you can take damage that way, an easy way to help you kind of level if you need to. But it's also a nice little beat stick at level 0 to have. So it has several uses, but I only use 2 of it because it hurts itself. But I also have other cards that are meant for power. Then we go into the next card for level 0, which is Totsuyu. Okay, like I said, I'm going to mispronounce a lot of these names, so please bear with me. Tokitsu Kaze. Brainstorm, level 0 cost, 2k power. It's a brainstorm that has a spamble pull brainstorm that pay 1, mill 4. If you reveal climax, search your deck for 1, ship girl, and then add it to your hand, then discard a card. Run as a 3-0 so I can get through my deck if needed be to be a little faster. Because sometimes I honestly get climax screwed, so I need to go through my deck really fast. So honestly, 3 of, because it's also nice to use for early attacks if necessary, but also it's necessary to see if you need search power. That being said, we go ahead and go now into the red section of this deck for the level 0 list. Which the first card is Satsuki. 3 of, because it's a level 0 cost, 1500. That has Encore, pay 2, and then it also has a level 0 reverser effect. Now, a pay 2 is kind of expensive, but it's also kind of nice to have because the normal actual Encore is a pay 3. So, early game, it can be useful to pay that 2 to go ahead and just keep her on the field, keep going with her. So, 3 of because level 0 reverser, mostly though. Very nice attacker to have. Then, the next card in my red is Izanami. Izanami is a 3 of, as she has the she has the global assist ability for all fleet girls character. She doesn't actually physically say assist, but she gives all global 5. And then her second effect is on placement, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's not a fleet girl, you have to rest this card. Now that's not a big deal because I mostly use her for back row, but it is noteworthy that she is a 2500, so she can be used to attack if necessary. So that's why I run her as a 3 of, in case I have just all of them in hand. I could go ahead and put the other 2 in the back and the other one in the front. Also allows me to know what the top card of my deck is, so it goes back to that first card I showed at my level 0 game. So then we move on to the blue section of the level 0 game. Now this card, honestly, is one of my favorite cards in this deck because it's so useful at all levels in the game. This card is Marusame Kai. 3 of it. 2500, level 0 cost. That its effect is on attack, pay 1, ditch a card from your hand. That's very important to know for later game. Then you search your deck for a fleet girl, add it to your hand. So, the pay 1, ditch a card allows you to get climaxes out of hand, but there's also change in this deck that needs to be cards in the waiting room for it. Now there's only one card that really does that, but we get into that at level 3. So, that being said, she's very useful for that ability, but I also don't actually have the next card that show, but she's mostly used for the level 3 game. But she could be used early on to search out whatever I need. Then the next card is a 2-part combo that starts at level 0. Well, it technically starts at level 1. But I can play this at level 0 because it's nice to have, which is Shigure. Shigure as a 2 of, because she's a 0/0 cost, that's a 2k, that if she's the only card on the field, she gets plus 15 and also Encore, which was, I think, Character Encore. Yeah, Character Encore. But we don't really use her for that effect. That's why I was a I think kind of thing. So I do apologize about that. We use her for her second effect. Her second effect is if I'm at level 1, I discard a card from my hand and then put her into the waiting room, and then I look for her level 1 version and play it onto the field where she was at. Now this happens anytime during the main phase because it's an act ability. So with that, we go into the next card, which is Shigure Kai Ni. Shigure Kai Ni is a level 1 cost. That's a 6,500. That on placement, regardless if it's through the change or if just from hand, you have your opponent reveal the top card of their deck. If it's a level 1 or higher, it gets plus 1,000 until the end of your opponent's turn. This is also very useful just to get ahead and just say, I'm going to be a 7,500 with back row B making it an 8,500. That cool with you? No? Well, deal with it. It's also nice to use because that combo does not require stock. So you could hard play it for a stock, but you also could play it from hand by just using the Shigure. Granted, it is using 2 cards from your hand, but it also does allow you to discard cards from your hand. So it's like, I have too many climaxes in my hand, we go ahead and use this effect to get rid of it out of my hand. And plus, also because of the way wording of rulings go, you could also go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and discard the Shigure Kai Ni for the Shigure's effect, and then still get the Shigure Kai Ni into the field. So, rulings. Yeah. Then we go into the next card for the blue level 1 game, which is Taiga. Now, if I once again mispronounce card names, I apologize. This is a level 1 0 cost that is a 4,500. That its effect says for every other card on the field, well, Ship Girl that's on the field, it gets plus 5. So it's a 6,500 that is free to play. So nice to get a little extra tax in for extra stock, plus also just to build stock in general, plus also not a decent sized body for like the actual level 1 game because it's a 65. Gets over a good few things, but honestly because how the way the game's going, it's I don't know. But it's fine. It's fine, honestly, because it's still only for 65 that costs nothing. So you didn't do anything to really invest in it. So either way, it's getting you stock. But either way, very useful. Next card is probably one of the most important cards in any Kantai deck, especially if you play yellow. Compass. Compass is a 1/1 event. That is a counter event. So you can play it during your main phase, or you can play it during the backup phase. And it's at a mill 3 because it's a brainstorm. Mill 3. If a climax was revealed amongst that, you choose. That is important to remember. You choose a character in battle, and they cannot deal damage for that turn. So it's very useful to keep that in mind because there is a lot of actual hexproof in this game now. So honestly, it's good, but that's why I only run a 3 of it because it's just. Hexproof is the thing in this game. We go on to also our level 1, which is the submarine I-9. I think it was I-9. No, I-8. Excuse me. But its effect is honestly used mostly just to go ahead and do a search, which is pay on placement, pay 1, ditch 1, search your deck for a fleet girl, add it to hand. So we have even more search with this deck because of that. The thing you're wondering, why am I not running Shimakaze? Well, Shimakaze requires to actually reverse an opponent's card, so it's not as useful because Attack on Titan is a very massive thing in the Weiss Schwarz meta. Now, granted, we're talking about Weiss Schwarz, but essentially, if you're playing a competitive deck, you're playing Swordor or you're playing Attack on Titan. Granted, you don't have to necessarily play those to win, but whatever. Now, this card has a second effect, but the other effect is literally just auto pay 2. When this card is put into the waiting room from the stage, maybe the cost, if you do, choose essentially itself, but as a Kai version from your waiting room, and put that card in position of rest, where this card was. But not necessarily used in this deck. It is used by some other decks, but not as much. But then we also go to the final card, level 1, which is Yahagi. Yahagi is a 2 of 1/1, 6k power. Its first effect essentially is Encore, Clock Encore. Now that's important because it keeps it on the field for longer, so it's very useful to have early on just to keep field presence. And then its second effect is you can Rest 2 of your characters, so back row. Rest 2 of them, and it gets plus 2500 power for the turn. So it becomes an 8-5. So with the back row, it becomes a 9-5. So we just look at that, and it's just like, hi, I'm just gonna smack over you now. That cool? No? Well, I know this is kind of a very lame excuse of a explanation. I apologize. But honestly, it's just the whole point of level 1 game is to kind of get big and just smack. The only other card that doesn't do it, the only card that does not do that, that is not an event, is the submarine, but she's there for search power. But that being said, we go into the level 2 game, which is honestly one of the other more important colors and levels of the deck, because it's only focused on 2 cards really. Now granted, it's technically 3, but we'll get to that later. But first, the more important of the 2. Haguro Kaini. Haguro Kaini is a level 2, 1 cost that is a 7-5. Now, why is this card so important? Because it's a backup that's not a backup. That's one thing. And 2, its second effect is on placement of its climax combo, on placement, search your deck. And then you add a fleet girl to your hand. So if your entire front row is 3 of these, on placement, search 3 cards from your deck. Hi, I have hand now, and I must set up pretty much whatever I want. That cool? Well, you can't do anything about it unless you're playing Fate. I look at you, Giggle Dish. Yeah, Giggle Dish, because he giggles a lot. Actual name Giggle Miss, but point of the matter. Anyways, so the first part of the effect is what I mentioned is a backup that's not a backup. Now, why is that so? This card, even if it's reversed on the field, if someone is frontal attack, another card is frontal attack, you can go ahead and essentially sack that unit and give that unit plus 3,000 power. So it doesn't count as a backup. It's not during the backup stage. It's during the attack step. So, attack declaration, I should specify. And so technically, you could back up with that and then back up again during the actual counter attack step. So you can have a good, well, in this deck's case, it's honestly, you just use it to go for, like, example, let's say you have a 10k base, it's a 13. I honestly want to say you only really need to try to use 1 because you don't want to use too much of your field at the same time, because if your opponent's smart, they're playing around this card anyways. With that being said, this is honestly one of your more important cards because of the search though. The backup is really nice though. It is very useful. Then, the other card that's important to this. Level 2, 1 cost, Juno. Now, why is she important? Because she's a 1k global assist. Well, she doesn't technically say assist, but that's still not important. The important part is she gives global 1,000 to all of your fleet girls. And the other part is that she is a shifter. So you can always use her to clock and then shift it back into your hand, see what you get. So it's very versatile to try to be able to get, and it's also very useful for your back row, which you can use the Izanamis to move forward to just get extra attacks, to not use hand up, and then use these to go ahead and power up more things as well. Very useful card, very good, very easy to access. And now we get into level 3s. Now, I should be using one other card first, but I honestly want to save all these cards together, just because. Well, so we're going to go to the first level 3, which is Musashi, 2 of. She's a 3/2, 11k body. That her first effect says she cannot set attack. That's not too bad of a deal because she's 11k body. So with that being known, she is honestly just going to front attack because you want to go ahead and deal as much damage as possible anyways. So you want a front attack or direct attack, specifically more likely to direct. Because her second effect is when her damage is canceled on turn she's placed, you mill the top card of your deck and then you take the level of that card, example level 3, and add 1 to it and deal your opponent 4 damage instead. So, okay, you cancel that, like let's say it was a direct attack, so for 3, I didn't check a trigger, then you mill the top card, it was a level 3, okay, I ping you for 4 now. If they cancel that too, that's just more climaxes out of the way for the next couple attacks, which we start going into. But first, we go into this card first, which honestly is one of my favorite cards. Tea Time Kongou. It is a level 3 2 cost, 9/5 power. Now, what's so important about this card? This card is an early play that is a level, so it's a level 2, essentially. But you have to have 6 or more climaxes in your waiting room for the effect to go off. It's a little hard, but it's not too bad, depending on how the game state goes. Very easy, so it's kind of easy to get off early, but it's still an early play nonetheless. Then, if you have 2 or more other fleet girls on the field, it gets plus 1,000, so it's a 10/5 by itself. If you have any amount of other girls on the field, essentially, 2 or more specifically, obviously. So a front row, if you have a full front row, you're good. And then its third effect is on placement, you can salvage a ship girl to your hand. So honestly, it allows a little more access of plays. Just honestly, overall good card, but I can't see myself running it too much more than a 2-of, just because it is an early access, but that early access is a little difficult to do. But still, one of my favorite cards, Kongou Tea Time. And then we go into the actual meat of the deck, the actual reason why I like this deck so much. And honestly, I could make it better. I could make it a meta build if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Not as fun. So then we finally go into my favorite card of the deck, my actual legit favorite cards of the deck, because the first part was Kongou, the next part is Kongou, and the third part is Kongou. So this one is Kongou Kai. Kongou Kai is a level 3, 2 cost, 8,500 power. That she has an on placement effect. Double check the exact wording. That when this card is placed, this gets the following ability for the turn. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, choose 2 fleet girls, characters in your waiting room, and return them to hand. So on placement, you get 2 fleet girls back to your hand if you reverse your opponent. Now that seems a little hard because it's an 85. But then we look into it in the second effect. The second effect says that if her climax combo is in the climax area, she gets plus 3,000 on attack, and also you can burn your opponent for her damage. So she becomes at 11/5, plus also the climax combo, which is a 1k1, makes her a 12/5, and then whatever back row you have. So she can actually get fairly big really fast. And then her third and final effect is a change ability. Her change ability says if she is at rest at the beginning of the encore step, you may move her to the waiting room and look for a Kongou Kai Ni and play it in place where she was. So, with that being said, we go into the final card, which is her change target. That's a single 1-of, which is Kongou Kai Ni. Level 3, 3 cost, 10k body. On placement, whether it's through the change or from hand, heal. Then her final effect says is that as soon as she becomes reversed, you may discard a card from your hand and then put her to rest. But at the beginning of the next encore step, she has to go. So you can technically save her, but it's a 3 cost. Yeah, you honestly just want to kind of keep it at her in the waiting room at that point, then, because you could just go ahead and try to do the combo again if you really desire to. But by that time, you're also at the end game, so should it matter that much? But it's only a single 1-of because of the whole reason it's just a 3 cost. So you're only going to want to see that combo to go off once. And then finally, we go into the climax combos, which we run 4 of Haguros. 4 of Haguros, which is a gate and a soul icon for a 1k1. And then we go into Haguro of the 5th Squadron heading out. Now, 1k1 also on placement with the effect of the Haguro, which allows her to go ahead and say, I'm searching cards from my deck. How many Haguros on my field? I have 3, I'm searching 3. If I have 1, I'm searching 1. Simple as that. Very easy to fix. Very easy to fix your hand. Say, okay, I don't have what I want for the late game. Let me go and just change that real quick with this combo. Plus also, it's a gate, so it allows you to search up for your climax combos from your waiting room. Relatively all around good card. And then finally, we go into the final card of the deck, Stand by Fire. Stand by Fire is also a 1k1 with also a gate, so essentially return effect to your hand. So it allows you to go ahead and say, okay, I'm looking through my waiting room, what do I need? I grab this character, add it to my hand. So it allows more search options, and it's just overall good. Plus also the Kongou combo also allows burn, so it's a burn combo as well. It just also allows the whole deck to just kind of synchronize more because it keeps a balance with the actual number of the colors. Because what I haven't gone over now is that finally, at level 0, I am playing 16 level 0s, 13 level 1s, 6 level 2s, 7 level 3s, and then the 8 climaxes, obviously. As for numbers, the total numbers are 15 reds, 18 blue, and 17 yellow. So relatively good balance in the deck. So at almost at all points seeing whatever color I need. And I only need to see 2 colors essentially at level 1 and then at level 2 as well because they're the same colors. But honestly, that's all the time I got for this. I'm going to say overall the deck's fine. It's not really meant to be competitive, but that's fine because once again, it is a fun deck. But with that being said, thank you all so much for joining me in this episode of this card review, of the deck review. So thank you for joining me, the Gaming Den.